Well, we moved from Manchester to Sheffield, but it's still Matchroom, it's still DAZN, another big card. But before we have a quick word about the card, Eddie, big news with Betfred, Matchroom extending a deal for 12 months. I mean, give us your thoughts on that.
Well, we always love to work with great partners, and Betfred and Fred Doan have always been big supporters of not just boxing, but a lot of Matchroom property. Of course, World Snooker as well, massive supporter of that. And we entered into an agreement with Betfred not so long ago, and delighted to do a new 12-month extension. Thank you for the continued support. It makes a big difference for the shows and for the fighters on the shows as well. Great to have a great partner in Betfred, and even better to have you two following us around for another 12 months. So everybody wins.
It's a win-win, but it is, I think, a 12 main shows as well, isn't it? Which shows what you're going to be doing, and what obviously Betfred are backing boxing as well. So again, you know, the DAZN thing raised some eyebrows, I suppose, but it just shows you where you are and what you're committed to.
Oh, look, we're long-term players, and you know, we've seen what we've done in British boxing. You know, the DAZN experience has been, 3 months now, 4 months into that, so early doors, but already put on some great cards. Of course, Josh Warrington at Headingley, Smith against Fowler at Liverpool, this weekend in Sheffield, and of course the two huge ones to end the year with Conor Benn against Algieri, Chisora Parker as well, and coupled that in with Demetrius Andrade against Quigley, Teofimo Lopez against Cambosos, Devin Haney against Jojo Diaz, and so much more to come from around the world. So things are great, and excited to see Betfred with us for every step of the way.
Ed, we're not going to keep you too long. Twice in 48 hours is enough for you and for us, isn't it? However, do you reckon you've just cost yourself a lot of money going forward with the two fighters on the undercard that you've just offered a KO double, you know, a bonus if the KO comes?
Yeah, I mean, it was just an interesting one where I was thinking, I love making these little 10-round fights, sort of English title level.
There's rarely a bad fight out
there.
No,
and two guys undefeated, got everything to gain. And I just thought to myself last night, looking at the UFC, which we copy a lot, you know, their fight of the night and stuff like that, let's just have a KO bonus. So I just said to the guys, I'll double your purses if you win by knockout. So if we weren't going to see a great scrap anyway, now we'll see an even better one. And I just think it's exciting, bit of fun. And but they didn't let me get my words out right. Just when I said I'm going to double your money, everyone started clapping. I said, no, for a KO. So that's going to kick off the main broadcast at 7 p.m. And it's a good card. You know, Chris Billam-Smith actually has a tough fight as well. Breguion is a good fighter from France. Dante Dixon, tremendous young fighter as well. I love the fight with Terry Harper and Alicia Baumgardner. She's full of confidence. And of course, Kid Galahad ready against Kiko Martinez. And a lot of people saying, oh, you know, straightforward defence, Kiko's old and stuff like that. He's a tough guy. You know, he's lived boxing from the age of 18 or 20 when he started, and he's still fighting at that level. Gave Zelfa Barrett, you know, all kinds of action at super featherweight. This is his real weight. And I just feel, you know, with Kid Galahad, you need to bring someone in that's going to bring the heat. You can go into your shell against Kid Galahad, and it can sometimes be a little bit boring. But against an aggressive fighter, I've not seen many that are going to beat Kid Galahad. I believe he could beat all the champions.
You just mentioned about James Flynn and Dom Hunt, obviously, with the knockout bonus. Everyone's going to be scrambling around now, getting the odds on inside the distance on all of these fights. Kid's often been accused of not having the big punch power, you know, from the Ingalls stable when you're thinking Naz and the power that he had. Has he come on in that area, do you feel?
I do, and I think he's actually more of a spiteful puncher now, you know, and he's being more aggressive. If you look at the Jazza Dickens fight, he threw a huge amount of punches in that fight. And to be honest, like, as a promoter, someone that obviously people want to watch excitement, but it's very difficult when you've got a guy who boxes in a style that's very difficult to beat, trying to turn him into an aggressive, come-forward fighter that's, you know, has a lot of activity in his work rate. But he did that against Jazza Dickens, and I've said to him, you have to do that. And this is the kind of fight where he can do that, but it's dangerous doing that as well. But I just feel that he is being more aggressive now. He breaks people down. He's incredibly smart on the inside. Look, you've got a brilliant fight coming up on DAZN next year, Michael Conlan against Lee Wood. The winner of that is a big fight. For me, I'd like to see him fight Navarrete. You know, I think that's a brilliant fight. I think Navarrete is so difficult to beat. But Kid Galahad is in his prime, and you know, he may just beat them all.
Yeah, we've mentioned the women just very quickly. It's great to see Stevie Levy on it. Raven Chapman, who we've heard very good things about. We mentioned before Alicia Baumgardner, the confidence in her. Great to see Terry Harper back. Do you see, Dom was just saying before, there's a little bit of Jamie Mitchell, Shannon Courtney about it. She's very confident. She walked off before and she went, you just wait till Saturday night. Do you know, when people are shouting things, the confidence in her. Do you see Terry being in for a very tough night?
I think it's a tough fight because for a number of reasons. One, Alicia is very good. She's very well schooled. She punches very hard as well. Secondly, when you look at Terry Harper, she's coming back from a year layoff. She's had 2 hand operations, right? Of course, you know, big at the weight, confidence. She even spoke there about her own mental, you know, work to try and give her more confidence. I mean, that's a bit of a giveaway, do you know what I mean? But really, she's just being honest. And all the talks, Min Choi has signed a contract to fight Terry Harper. Maya is a massive undisputed fight. But this is the toughest fight of her career, unquestionably. But they've obviously seen in the gym her improve, because they wouldn't have taken this as a comeback fight. You know, you just don't take fights like this coming off 2 hand injuries. You take an easier fight and then you go into Choi and Maya. So I love it. I love that she's doing this. And, you know, like I said, Mary McGee from America gave a brilliant fight. Jamie Mitchell from America came and won the world title. And she's very well schooled.
Just a final one, just some interesting chit-chat that's knocking about at the moment about 2 guys that you've promoted in Kell Brook and Amir Khan. Now, you've probably heard more than we have. I'm sure you know a lot more than we do. Is there anything you can tell us, Eddie, about that in terms of what's happening, if there's any involvement with yourself or anything?
No, I talked to them about that fight. I mean, it's still a big fight, but it's nowhere near the fight that it once was. And it's become a fight, and I don't blame the guys. It's a cash-out fight. They just want to make as much money as possible. And the money they were asking for me, just didn't make sense. You know, they think it does 1 million buys on pay-per-view. Nowhere near now, not even half of that. I want to make Conor Benn against Amir Khan, so I'm a little bit away from the scene, and I'm talking to Amir about that fight. But I can understand both guys. Look, there's still a lot of money to be made from that fight. They're both pretty much done in the sport of boxing. They want one more fight each. It's the only fight Kell Brook would take in boxing, I think, now. So let them do it. You know, just not at that price tag for me. It was too rich, because I want to see Conor Benn fight Amir Khan, and if Kell Brook wants to fight Conor Benn, we can look at that as well. But he's got to beat Chris Algieri first. But I believe Kell Brook, as he said yesterday, he signed the deal, or I don't know the ins and outs, but you know, it's going to cost someone a lot of money, that fight, and I'm glad it's not me. But if it don't work out, Conor Benn against Amir Khan, yes please.